A completed film really is only half the battle now. I wish I'd realised that earlier on. A lot of the bigger films being made most of the time won't even start a production until they've got a distribution deal put into place. That's how important it is. Obviously, it's understandable that most indie filmmakers are not going to secure distribution for their films before they start trying to make their film. My vision on getting the film made and how to get the film made was clear, but I didn't really start thinking anything beyond that. And at best, that's just poor planning. I was convinced from the off that my finished film could reach an audience by being watched online through a streaming service or online platform, and that was the approach I aimed for. But looking back, was I always intending to self-distribute, or was I going to try and get the help of distribution companies? My thoughts and planning on it was just murky, split between the two, and ultimately not settling on one plan of attack. I should have had a much more comprehensive and realistic plan put into place much earlier on from the off of what happens exactly with this film once it's completed. There shouldn't have even been any debate about it. When I completed the film, I was faced with the question and realization of, well, now what? Which is disheartening to say the least, especially after so much time and energy has gone into creating it and you have practically used up everything in the tank on doing so. I should have educated myself much more thoroughly, or found others with the knowledge on the different types of film streaming platforms available out there, how it works and which one I felt was most suited for my film and what they all meant, and prepped accordingly for that from the beginning. I should have also spoke with a lot more people who had already gone down that road before with their own films and got advice off of them about distribution. What is video on demand? What is subscription video on demand? What is transactional video on demand? What is advertising based video on demand? What are the differences between all these things? Do any of these things apply to my film? Will this make a difference with the platform that I decide to upload the film onto, and the plan of how to drive traffic there to watch it? Do I need a middle person or a sales agent? What technical assets do I need in place first before I reach out to any of these platforms and channels? Are all these streaming platforms willing to speak to the filmmakers directly? Because some of the bigger platforms certainly ain't. Do I have to earn a financial return on my film, or is it more important to just get as many eyes on it as possible from the off? Because obviously that will also dictate where the film goes and initially gets seen. Once my film was finished, I spent almost the entirety of 2020 reaching out to distribution companies, but none were interested at all. Many didn't even reply. Now, from a business perspective, I understand why. Here's an unknown filmmaker with a no-budget indie drama with an unknown cast. I'm not exactly going to get the red carpet rolled out for me, so that quickly extinguished any lingering hope that a distributor would swoop in and solve the problem for me of distribution. In the end, I self-distributed through Prime Video Direct, and that was a whole other mountain because I hadn't built an audience or done nearly enough marketing in advance. So the release of the film was just a quiet process of uploading the film, expanding on the very minimal marketing and audience that I had built via social media, and then just basically hoping people would stumble across it, because most streaming platforms are not going to promote your work for you. They'll provide you with a link for you to share the film, but they themselves are not going to actively promote your film, not unless there's already a buzz around it or they're invested in it in some way. Just getting your film out there isn't enough. You also need a plan to drive people there to watch it.
After a while, once the film had gathered a bit more weight behind it, I decided to explore a different route and focus on opportunities a little closer to home. At the time, the pandemic had caused major shutdowns across nearly every industry, including film and television. I figured this would eventually create a shortage of new content, and with that, a demand to fill programming gaps. So in January 2021, I started reaching out to television stations in London to offer them my film. One of those stations was a local television channel called London Live, and to my surprise and excitement, they expressed interest in having a conversation about broadcasting Electrician. This was a huge moment for me. Having the film shown on television had always been one of those big, slightly out there dreams I had early on. Now, London Live wasn't one of the mainstream giants in terms of audience numbers, but it was a respected, established channel, especially in the city itself. What I've always admired about it is its commitment to showcasing lesser known independent films. I've personally discovered a lot of hidden gems there over the years from watching their channel, and always appreciated how they supported IndieCinema. So to have my film featured on that platform was incredibly meaningful, especially since Electrician is, at its heart, a very London film. I should also point out, it didn't happen overnight. From the first time I contacted them to the actual broadcast of the film took almost a year.
Later, through FilmHub, which is a platform that connects indie filmmakers with various streaming services, Electrician was also picked up by additional platforms including Tubi and Apple TV. But again, without some kind of strategy to drive an audience to these platforms, you're just relying on people randomly stumbling across it, or the algorithm picking it up. In 2024, I also chose to allow the film to be uploaded to Britflix, which is a UK YouTube channel which champions independent films, where it has since reached a much larger audience, actually clocking up over 100,000 views within its first year. Looking back, if I had built up a large enough audience before the film's release, I would have approached self-distribution differently. I would have considered alternative online paywall structures to rent or sell the film directly to that audience upon release.